The UK has fallen, completely under attack, subverted and taken over by a hidden hand that's pulling the strings of the politicians, police and media, and is hell-bent on destroying the country. People are angry. I'm angry. They've got a right to be angry. There are plenty of legitimate concerns, and the politicians, whether they're from Labour or the Conservative Party, do not give a damn. For decades, anyone who dared to voice their concerns over mass, uncontrolled immigration was demonised by politicians and the media, and for decades we've seen a piss-weak response from the police. For example, they'll kneel for Black Lives Matter and will run away when they kick off, but will send in full riot squads to bash up the common British man when he gets a wee bit rowdy. In recent weeks, things have accelerated. We've had the Roma gypsies in Leeds who destroyed police cars and set them on fire. Cops ran away. We had the Muslims in Rochdale surround a police station and demand to have one of their mates released. The police hid under their desks. Could you imagine a bunch of English lads turning up at the police station and demanding that their mate gets released? This guy setting a bus on fire. Bangladeshi rioters in London were angry about something that happened in Bangladesh and started to destroy stuff. An army officer was stabbed 12 times, I believe. So many sword and machete fights that I've lost count. The politicians respond to these incidents by appealing for calm and reaching out to community leaders so everyone can have a cup of tea and a wee chat and feel all warm inside. The media limit their reporting of these events and soften the language as much as possible. Do you remember Black Lives Matter kicking off and the BBC telling us that 27 officers were injured during a largely peaceful anti-racism protest, copying CNN's classic headline, "Fiery but Peaceful Protest"? And then, late last week, the murder of those 3 young girls at the hand of the son of migrants. This has been the tipping point for so many of the public who have been screaming out for change and continually warning that these things would happen. And what did the media do? Well, they referred to the killer as a quiet choir boy and used a photo of him as a child so that we would see him as just a poor little kid that went wrong. When people got out on the streets that evening, the label far right got applied to everyone who criticised immigration policy. And suddenly, the police found that they could start policing again. Not the soft approach they'd shown in recent weeks to ethnic protest groups, but they sent the riot cops out with the batons and the dogs. Half of the public are completely indoctrinated, too far gone to even consider that immigration might have played a part in this. No better example than the hope not hate crowd who respond to every tragedy with platitudes about candles and vigils and, hey, maybe next time if we just hope a little bit more, then bad things won't happen. We just need more hope. Keep hoping.
What does it say? What does the banner say? What does it say?
Stop racism, you stupid cunt!
We just need to hope more. Keep hoping and the stabbings will stop. Keir Starmer, instead of listening to the concerns of the public, doubled down, calling anyone who got angry about the needless murder of 3 little girls a far-right thug, which has gotten a great hashtag going on X with people now embracing the term far-right thugs unite. Loads of right-wing hotties, a priest, ex-cops, ex-soldiers, grannies, all proudly calling themselves far-right. Keir also sucked up to ethnic groups, clarifying that they would be the ones getting extra protection.
In relation to the Muslim community, look, let me be very clear. I will take every step that's necessary to keep you safe.
You'd have thought he might have a bit of concern for the families of those 3 little girls. It reminds me of that classic Norm Macdonald joke.
Well, I can't say my friend's name, but he said his biggest fear is that ISIS or some terrorist group like that would get a hold of a dirty bomb and explode it over a major city within the United States and kill tens of millions of people. Because then the blowback against innocent Muslims would be absolutely terrible.
Yeah, that's horrific.
That's true.
All right, let's do some jokes.
Over the rest of the weekend, it just got worse. Plenty of peaceful demonstrations from those angry about the killings, But of course, all the focus goes on to the trouble. The media, police and politicians continuing with the double standards, likely all by design. Some very suspicious characters were called out in this video. Well done to that lad for doing so.
What group are you from?
Not relevant, I did say on social media.
You look like Antifa people.
Fucking fuck from it, then.
You fucking look like it. You look a bit like Antifa, you lot like. You look a bit dodgy to me, like. You look a bit fucking sketch to me.
So yeah, I'm sure there were some agitators and bad actors in there to stir things up, but some of our own didn't help at all by turning up to the protest just so they can get drunk and throw bricks at the police, setting things on fire, looting shops. I don't believe all of this was started by infiltrators, and we've got to be smarter than this. For years, they have said that riots are the language of the unheard in order to justify Black Lives Matter rioting. We do not have the luxury of saying that when we want to get our point across. The major machines that are in play are all against us, and our behaviour has to be impeccable. Call it the globalist cabal or whatever. There are hidden groups who have incredible power and influence and will do anything to demonise us. Let's not make it easy for them by being drawn into their traps. Yes, by all means be angry, but it's got to be controlled anger. It doesn't matter that other groups get more violent than us more frequently. We know the media will play dirty and will not report on it all fairly. Do you think throwing bricks at the police will help our cause? Do you think that getting drunk and destroying and looting shops is going to help us? Come on, just be a little bit smarter than that. Don't let the opposition get an advantage because of a few moments of stupidity. Don't be goaded into violence by the police. I know from experience that cops use this tactic. There were reports from Liverpool that the cops allowed Antifa to get close to the anti-immigration protesters, but in this case they didn't take the bait, so the cops had to march Antifa away. Now, the setting fire to the Holiday Inn in Rotherham, this should not have happened. The police stood back and allowed the crowd the opportunity to do it. The crowd took the bait and only then did the cops move in. They let it happen. And Starmer gets what he wanted. What's going to come next? More control, travel bans, increased surveillance, the end of online anonymity. Now, he gets to deflect from all your legitimate concerns about immigration, about your concerns over the deaths of the innocent, and he gets to focus on shops and police stations being destroyed and looted in order to delegitimise our criticism of him. It's dirty, dirty politics. Keir made no mention of the Muslim gangs roaming the streets with knives, machetes, hammers, baseball bats. They can attack people and Keir Starmer will turn a blind eye to it. Police liaison officers were giving the Muslims a heads up to go off to the mosque to drop off the weapons. The police here were pleading with the armed Muslim gang not to start trouble, but ultimately they gave up and left the gang to get on with their violence. Sky News having an awkward moment as a group of agitators, or maybe Antifa, walked behind the camera carrying a load of weapons. The producers doing their best to get it off camera as soon as possible.
And look very pleased about it whilst they did it. Then there was this, as I say, clash between protesters and the police, and that is when they then ran off across the park here. A big group ran off looking for trouble, it looked like to us. So we're just going to step away now from this group behind us, but a lot of disorder here, a lot of...
I saw another clip of Starmer this morning where he again puts all his focus on far-right thuggery. No mention of any violence committed against whites, but specifically pandering to the Muslim voice again. No mention of which side we're going around with machetes. This is an intentional attempt to further the divide and create chaos. He mentioned bringing in emergency courts in order to convict people quickly. And so suddenly the government can tackle crime. It's a damn shame it came a bit too late for all the victims of the grooming gangs, where the police wouldn't even investigate for 16 years over fears of being called racist. He is an actor whose role is to destroy the UK. This is exactly what he and his puppet masters wanted. By all means, go out in numbers and protest, but be peaceful. Do not give them more ammunition to use against us.